tonight's hearings at 10 o'clock or thereabouts, as opposed to 10:30, because tomorrow is the first day of school, so we'll end a little bit earlier this evening. Mr. Neff, do you have anything else in terms of presenting evidence for the school district's case?
Just Mr. Apple's testimony on cost he presented. There is a stipulation of facts, however, that Attorney Martin and I went over that I'd like to read, and then I'll give the board a copy.
That's fine, or you can summarize what's in it and give the board the copies.
Mr. Apple lost 4 vacation days at the end of the 17-18 school year, which occurred because if an administrator has more than 18 vacation days left at the start of the next school year, the unused days must be subtracted. Mr. Apple has 23 and a quarter personal days. That there were numerous board votes between April 21st of 2016 and December 13th of 2018 regarding school consolidation, which elementary schools would be closed, and so forth. 10, paragraph 10, from Mann Elementary was renovated to the new name Juniata Elementary School, and students from Humana, Black Tuscarora, Tuscarora Valley, and Mountain View began attending there as of January 3rd. Monroe was renovated to the new name East Juniata Elementary. Students from Monroe, Thompsontown, and Fayette began attending there as of January 3rd. Mountain View Elementary School remains a Juniata County School District building, but it's designated for multiple uses, including storage of surplus items removed from the elementary schools. And Administration Exhibit 35, which I'll present to the board, shows the location of the closed schools, which are marked in red dots, Mountain View, which is marked with yellow, and the schools which are still open are marked with blue dots.
And will you provide, you only have one copy of the stipulation, is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay, if you send that to me tomorrow morning, I will make sure the board gets a copy of that. And so the board understands, I had asked council to please see if they could enter a stipulation on those 2 issues, so there'd be clarity in the record. One, whether Mr. Apple had lost paid leave at the end of the 2017-18 school year. Second, to set down in writing the fact concerning the consolidation of the elementary school, so it was clear on the record for someone who isn't from this district what had happened.
I have a signed copy that I can give you. Mr. Martin and I each have a copy for our own records.
Well, why don't you give me that copy then, and I'll distribute it to the board tomorrow. Thank you.
And I also have the exhibit, which I just referenced, 35, from the added to the books.
And I'll send the court reporter a copy of the stipulation also.
I'm also going to put a copy of 35 in the administration book for the witnesses.
Anything else on Mr. Knapp on behalf of the administration?
The only other thing that I would add is we do have a copy available of the email, which was Exhibit 2. The second page that had the handwriting on it. There is a copy of that without the handwriting on it.
Well, I think his testimony was clear that the handwriting was not on it at the time, so I don't think that's necessary. You don't contest that fact, do you?
No, in fact, I don't have any problem even substituting that means if you want to. That's entirely correct.
We'll leave the exhibit as it is.
Okay.
All right, thank you. Mr. Martin, you may begin to present your case on behalf of Mr. Allen.
I do have a question though, and that is about which exhibits the administration moved in.
So I can answer what's been admitted thus far. admitted at the start of the second hearing, administration exhibits 1 through 24 and 26 through 28. Are there additional exhibits you wish to move for the admission, Mr. Mann?
Yes, 30 through 35.
Any objection?
No objection to 30 or 35 or 34. No, actually, no objection to any of those. I would like to hand up though and ask that you be part of the record of the proceedings. We had discussed at the last hearing that I would provide our official position on the admission of exhibits 1 through 28.
That's fine, I'll make that part of the record.
Thank you. That just states our objections, and I know you've already rolled on it, but that's what we're.
Please proceed, Mr. Markham.
You call it NF.
Please raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? So help me God.
Would you please state your full name for the record?
First, I'd like to thank the board for this evening. 5-6 months, my career. I thank you for at least hearing me and giving me the opportunity to do so. My name is Edward Evan Apple,
Would you spell your last name, please, for the record?
APPLE,
And Mr. Apple, where did you attend high school?
East Juniata High School.
And when you were in high school, did you participate in any athletics?
Soccer, baseball,
And after high school, where did you go to college?
Mansfield University of Pennsylvania.
And when you were attending Mansfield, did you participate in any athletics there?
I was a baseball pitcher.
Did you play all 4 years?
I was there for 5. I took the long program.
Did you receive a scholarship for play?
Partial.
When you graduated from Mansfield University, what was your first job?
First job, substituting in 4 school districts,
Okay.
working construction,
How long did you do that?
2 years.
And then after those 2 years, where did you work?
Juniata County School District.
I forgot to ask you, what course of study did you pursue when you were in college?
And when I was at Mansfield, I was a dual major. I was social studies, general science. Being there 5 years, I got my general science. If I would have done it sooner, I would have had my chemistry, sir. It was 2 classes shy.
Now, does that mean you were also pursuing education, or was that?
Yes, they both were in education.
So you did some substitution work, and then what was that next position you held?
I was working construction, building houses.
And after that position, what did you hold?
I became a social studies science teacher here at Tuscarora Junior High School under direction of Fred Harris, principal.
And how long did you hold that position?
5 years.
And after you were teaching that class, or that subject, I should say, what position did you move to next?
Moved to Dean of Students at East Juniata High School. 1 year.
And then what did you do at the conclusion of that year?
I moved in Juniata High School and the best 5 years of my career with my mentor and principal, Stephen D. Drivers.
Okay, and what year did you start at junior high school?
99-2000.
And so did that go to the 04-05 school year?
Yes. I would have been 03, 04.
All right, so that approximate time frame. You were serving as assistant principal, is that right?
Assistant Principal Athletic Director.
In your capacity as athletic director, what kind of duties did you perform?
Wow. Going to events, crowd control, handling gate receipts, monies, reporting that, giving that to Bev Oberlin, giving that to Bev Oberlin, the secretary, sending the district office, evaluating coaches, looking at budgets, umpire assignments, evaluating officials, umpires, referees.
Now, that was in addition to your assistant principal duties, correct?
Correct.
And as assistant principal, what duties did you fulfill?
Discipline, which I like that model was shared with Steve. He mentored me, many different issues, situations came about. Special education paperwork at that time was monumental for assistant principal. I was in charge of doing RRs for special ed students, sitting in all the IEP meetings at Juniata High School. Steve would be there for some, but most of them came to mine and never came out of one office some days. And anything he designated as important, I did. He told me to do it, I did it.
Did you have any focus on curriculum or anything of that nature specifically?
With curriculum at that point, we were old school, I would call it, versus now. The curriculum was more semester by semester, and we were looking and started making some changes during my time as assistant principal. And yes, I would work with teachers, talk to teachers, and look at various things to improve Juniata High School.
All right, so after you served as assistant principal and athletic director, what position did you hold next?
Principal, Juniata High School.
And when did you assume that position?
I believe it was around 2004
And how long did you fill that position?
till this past January 1st.
Okay, so we're talking January 1st, 2019?
Correct.
And then in January 1st of 2019, what position did you assume?
Director of Secondary Education for Juniata County School District.
Before I ask you about that, as being principal, what duties did you perform?
Pretty much everything.
You did dealing with disciplinary issues?
Discipline issues that came to a head. If there was if there was a fight situation, I would always be involved with that. If it was a drug situation, I was addressing that. If we had bullies, I addressed that. Many times with discipline, dependent parking lot issues, people backing into each other, I would address that with the state police.
Now, with respect to the building, the physical building of the high school, can you describe up until early this year, 2019? Is it a building that had excess capacity? Was it filled? Was it underfilled?
Juniata High School's max population when Steve was there was about 715 students. We were in the 550, 575 range last few years. As far as overall rooms were assigned, all but one, depending on the year, depending on enrollment by grade. There were many issues that needed addressed over time. It's a 1972 building. I came to the boards here over the years with many improvement ideas, trying not to break budgets, but things that needed addressed for long term. And I always tried to follow through with those. I always had a plan. And looking at the monies with the district, with us trying to the fact was be very tax-minded, be budget-minded for a taxpayer in the county, always looked at trying to get the most for your buck, and a year try to do as much as you can. But sometimes you made something out of nothing.
process of doing that, would certain items of school property be moved or repurposed from their original purpose?
Over my time, I also worked summer crew with the district when I was assistant principal. Worked down here in coordination with Mel Love, who was then the head custodian. The basement here, different things, Mr. Harris being here then at that time as well. We weren't always paying a junk bill.
What
Joe,
do
that means if there were things that were looked at as obsolete, possibly damaged, broken, they were going to the basement storage. Junior high didn't have a lot of room. And like Mel Love would say to me, we need to move some of this stuff out of here. Where's it gonna go? Well, went home, went to different places. Because we had to make room at times in this building. And over time, did that change? Yes. We started dumping money into a compactor and putting metal objects and all kinds of desks and chairs into that compactor and paying for disposal. But for years, if things were busted, broken, and looked at going somewhere, retired teachers, different people might take a desk or something like that as a retirement item, a chair. For example, Dr. Stuck, when he retired, got his chair.
Let me ask you about items that may be used in one classroom and then later used in another room. Is that something that would happen within the district?
Junior High School, for example, you have a building, half of it still has the original materials from 1972. That's hard to believe, but that's a fact. Over time, Steve started budgeting to replace classroom equipment. I did the same, but quickly found out some of the old stuff is not near as hardy or as long-lasting as the new stuff that's manufactured. So junior high school right now has a lot of its original equipment in it. And yes, we would salvage part out, take 2 or 3 desk chair combinations to make one good one. We did that quite often.
Now, you've heard all the other testimony that's already been given,
Yes,
and you've heard reference to the consolidation that happened within the district.
yes,
And different witnesses have talked about a lot of furniture moving in various directions.
yes.
Building to building, back and forth, or whatever. Is that also your assessment of what was happening in the past 12 months?
Yes, and I just want to add, I'm glad tonight that I heard that I was second in the district in command, because that was a contentious point between Mrs. Holderman and me.
Okay.
I was second in command, but here I'm getting to something. With the overall planning, I was never asked my goals, my plans, my thoughts on any of this.
All right, well, I'm gonna get to that in a minute, but let me ask you this question. In terms of what was happening with the movement of furniture among so many different buildings, was that common year to year, or was that sort of a unique experience in school district history?
That's the first time that had happened here. All the elementaries being closed, and that many buildings being closed, that was monumental. I wasn't even born when the reorganization took place in the 60s, so this was monumental for this district over a 40, 50-year period.
I'm gonna ask questions now going back to the summer of 2018. And specifically, I'd like to ask, what was your involvement at all with the Boosters Club at that point?
Summer of 2018,
Yes, going into the fall of 2018.
as principal, tried to touch base and look at things, if we could make improvements. The booster presidents and some of the supporting staff, like Dietrich Field, we have an older concession stand. That concession stand's been there forever. We were looking, the boosters have purchased things over time. I know when we did a Coke contract years ago for scoreboards, Coca-Cola at that time also came in and provided coolers for us, the stand-up coolers. They're starting to go bad. So we have things to address in them, in that facility. The band, in that summer, it was brought to my attention shortly after summer, August, September, that the band trailer needed replaced. And the band was looking at making an investment to replace that, and I said, hold off. I said, what,
Before you continue, let me
Yeah.
ask you to describe the band trailer. Imagine you're describing it to someone who's never seen it before.
band trailer was on single wheels, 10-inch tires, 8 by 12 trailer. And that's what it was. And it was modified to serve french fries
All right, so this
for the
is,
band.
this was the kind of thing someone could walk up to during a game, who wanted to buy french fries out. Is that
Correct.
All right. And you said that that was something you had your eye on at that time?
And that's something I believe with the consolidation with the portable structures we had at the elementary schools, that we could replace without having boosters spend $5,000-6,000 to replace a trailer.
And did you have a conversation with the boosters at that point?
I spoke to Jim and Lori Squab, who were very active in the boosters. I don't remember if they were president, vice president type, but they were very active with their daughter, with the band. And I said, just hold off.
And you mentioned sheds, I believe, at other locations. What did you have in mind that might be able to be done that would save money for the boosters?
Well, for years, we have purchased portable sheds, both at Juniata High School, East Juniata High School, and all the elementary buildings for storage purposes. And with the consolidation and the storage not being there, needed there because of the consolidation into Juniata Elementary School and East Juniata Elementary School, I had spoken to Mr. Miley, Dr. Yarder, that if we could have one, maybe two of those sheds at Juniata High School, that would help out our band, and at the same time, we'd be using something we had purchased.
All right. And what efforts did you make or requests did you make to try to get one of those sheds there about the athletic field?
I had spoken to Dr. Yarder, Mr. Miley, I had even spoken to John Stoker in the summer, out Walker Shed,
Who is that? Who's Mr. Stoker?
Director of Maintenance. And I believe I haven't had access to my email since March 6th, 7th, so I can't tell you. But I was in email other times, and I'm sure I sent emails requesting and looking at these things.
All right. And did there come a time when, in the fall of 2018, when the shed was actually moved onto the athletic field?
No. Fall season came and went.
And were the band boosters still using the trailer that was there?
Yes, and I got to see how the floor was. The floor was not in great shape. There needed to be a change there soon.
Did there come a time when a shed actually was delivered to the field?
January
2019, correct?
January 21st is when I noticed it was there. I never got a phone call or email. I saw it for myself.
But it just showed up.
It showed up. Tuscarora Structures drove to Fayette Elementary School. They hauled it in.
Yeah, let me ask that. I probably should have asked you before. What would the typical procedure be to move something as large as a shed from one school property to another?
You have to get a rollback type truck.
And does the district contract with companies to do that, or is that handled in-house?
I requested, I did not contact on that when I was told that would be taken care of. And I'd asked in the summer, fall, and here we are in January.
Let me direct your attention at this time to January 1st, 2019. There's already been testimony about it, but I'd like you to state in your own words what happened on January 1st, 2019 relative to the issue that brings us here today.
January 1st, 2019, Dr. Yarder texted me early in the morning, asking me if I would go with him to Tuscarora Elementary School. He wanted to go there, he wanted to look at his view, tables in particular, and at the same time, he said, I want you as Director of Secondary Ed to take a look at all the rooms and all the furnishings, and if you want to move and need something for the secondaries,
Objective hearsay at this point, Dr. Yarder is not on their witness list, there were numerous objections.
you're asking for my testimony.
You're testifying what?
Wait a second, hold on. Mr. Apple, you don't have a speaking role when an attorney is objecting. There'll be an objection, and I'll rule on
I thought.
it. Continue with your objection, please.
He's specifically testifying for the truth of the matter that Dr. Gardner instructed him to do what he did on January
Okay.
1st. Dr. Gardner's not here.
Response to the objection.
Well, the objection is not well founded for two reasons. The first is, it's not to the truth of the matter, it's what Dr. Gardner said. It's the verbal fact. And if there was-
That's enough. Overruled, you may answer.
Dr. Yorker, I can continue.
Yes,
Okay.
please.
Okay. He had texted and asked me to come in and go to LAC. That was in the morning. It's New Year's Day. Every year, we do an annual lunch with my parents, pork and sauerkraut, my daughters, Taylor Senior. I was going to do that. Afternoon, maybe, I said maybe, and he got back to me and said, what about 2:30? I said, I might be able to then make that work. I came into Juniata Elementary School, 2:30 range. I said to him, I'm not driving my truck to Black Tuscarora.
Let me stop you. Why did you say that?
I had driven in from Richfield, and I wasn't driving to LAC. I had a quarter tank of gas. I wasn't filling up just to drive to LAC to look at the furnishings.
Okay, go ahead.
He wanted to take the district truck up to the trailer. Trailer's locked up. He wanted to take the trailer. He said, find stuff, and we want to move. We have the trailer. I said, well, it's locked. You can't open it. He didn't have keys to it. I definitely don't have keys to that trailer.
So Dr. Gardner didn't have keys to the trailer, and you didn't either.
Nope.
Okay, so what happened next?
Well, he wanted to take the truck. The only way you can take the truck is if you take the hitch out of the trailer. So I had to remove the hitch, jack the trailer up, and take the truck.
All right, and where did you go in the truck?
Black Tuscarora Elementary School.
All right, now, approximately what time of day was this, as best as you recall?
Till I get up there, probably 3, a little after.
Okay, and when you got there, what happened next?
Dr. Gardner opened the doors. He said, I want you to look in the classrooms. We did.
All right,
He asked me if there were things there that we could use, I could see being used in the buildings. And I said, yeah, there's some 2-door cabinets here, there's some tables here, there's some chairs here we can use in different places in the 3 schools. I knew Juniata for sure, but the other ones I hadn't been in that much in the last couple of years. I mean, walk around, be in service, yes, but actually to pick what, no. That being East Juniata, Tuscarora Junior High School.
and as Director of Secondary Education, were those the 3 facilities that you were charged with overseeing?
Yes.
All right, now you said that you went into the building and you looked around. Can you describe a little bit about how that went?
Walked down the hallway to the other end of the building and turned the lights on in each classroom and looked around.
Now, am I correct, there was some prior testimony on this, but am I correct that as of that point, classes had stopped for that building?
Correct.
And they were not going to resume in January?
Correct.
Okay. So that building, for educational purposes, was abandoned at that point, correct?
Correct.
All right. And you went from room to room. Did you go in other rooms besides classrooms?
Office area, nurse's office area. I know we had looked at ordering different things for Juniata High School over years, like beds, cots, things like that. They're not cheap. Anything that we could replace, utilize somewhere, that's what I was looking at.
And did you see some things that could be used elsewhere?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Let me ask you this, broadly speaking, what was the status of the furniture or the appliances in that building? Was it still pretty full, or had things been taken out at all?
There were some things taken out already. And again, I don't know what the schedule, I wasn't privy to all that.
To the best of your knowledge, was there ever a grand plan that the district had saying, with the closing of all these buildings, this is gonna go here, this is gonna go there, this is gonna go here?
To this date and time, I've yet to see that detailed plan.
saying this goes here, that goes there?
I'm going to object, he's really being the witness.
I can answer it.
Wait a minute. Once again, sir, you don't have a speaking role when the attorneys are objecting. Okay. I'm gonna sustain the objection. That was an incredibly leading question. Please re-ask it differently.
All right, that's fair. How would you characterize the way in which determinations were made of furniture or appliances being moved around on school property as part of the consolidation?
Teachers had say, from what I understood, for certain things to be moved in pods or to be taken to Juniata Elementary School or East Juniata Elementary School. My observation, many things were left behind. Some rooms were better than others. But I'll be honest, my perception, my opinion was it was a cluster.
All right, so when you were walking through the building and you saw different things there, what did you observe, if anything, that you thought could be used somewhere else?
Like I said previous, you had stand-up two-door cabinets that our shops could use. You had shelving in there that we could go and bracket to the walls to get things off the floor. I had priced things like that, and if we're just gonna let it go, or as Dr. Yarder called it, it's gonna be junk. I'm like, it's not junk. I mean, we can use some of this stuff different places.
Dr. Yard described some of these things as junk.
Mm-hmm. Yes, ma'am.
Of course, there's been a lot of discussion in this proceeding today about stainless steel tables.
Correct.
Were there stainless steel tables there in Lancaster?
In the kitchen.
All right. And did there come a time when you and or Dr. Yarder worked on removing those tables from the building?
Yes.
And how many tables specifically?
There were 3 tables removed from that building.
All right.
2 that day and with me present.
How were they, well, first of all, how much do those tables weigh, if you can estimate?
It varies. Some of them are manufactured, they're lighter aluminum. Some of them were 30, 40 years old and had the galvanized pipe welds. Pretty heavy.
Let's talk about the 2 specifically that came out that day. Were those tables that were easily moved by one person?
No,
How about by 2 people?
no.
All right. Did there come a time, and we've heard some prior testimony, did there come a time when there were other people there at the school building also?
In a half hour, 45 minutes, Glenn Cook and Ken Berry showed up.
And they are custodial staff? is that right?
Custodial staff in the district, yes.
And at that point, were you and Dr. Yarger attempting to move the stainless steel tables?
Not yet.
Not yet. Had you moved anything out at that point?
No, just basically was looking around what we could use, different places.
Why did you decide that the stainless steel tables could be used elsewhere?
Well, I had spoken to Dr. Yarder back in the summer when Walker was there looking at the booster at Dietrich Field. Stainless steel tables or some of the big cut tables that were in the kitchens would be nice to place at Dietrich Field. And then once it started looking at the band and getting a larger shed, we could outfit that as well. And reason being, in the past we have had complaints with Dietrich Field, with the countertops, with overall cleanliness. That's been an issue with health, safety as far as food prep. Looked at it, we have tables, easy clean, easy disinfect.
Now, at that time, on that day, January 1st, am I right, the shed did not have to move to Dietrich Field?
No.
But you've been requesting it throughout the fall to be.
Yes.
Now, when was it that you started, physically speaking, to actually move the tables out of the building?
Mr. Cook and Mr. Berry were there and we were talking. We talked about a couple things. Find that to be ironic. We talked about concessions. Talked about putting them in the concessions. And we also discussed hunting for about half an hour, 20 minutes, half hour during that time.
And did the 4 of you work together to move those tables out of the building?
Yes,
All right. And how did you do that? Did you have a dolly? Did you lift it?
dollars.
And once they were outside the building, what happened to them then?
They went onto the truck.
Did you have lift? Did you hoist them?
No, they were lifted onto the truck
Manually, you mean?
manually, no lifts.
And that was 2 tables, is that correct?
Correct.
Now, at that time, did you continue walking through the building and removing other things, or did you leave the building at that point?
No, there was a meat slicer in the kitchen. I looked at that as something we could utilize. If we're just going to get rid of these things, they could be utilized for boosters as well. I never used one particularly. That could be used for them as well.
What did you envision, what kind of food did you envision that being used for?
Well, going to a lot of the Army stores, you can buy the big long rolls of cheese, and you can buy ham, and yes, there have been comments made over time about ham sandwiches, things like that, but if you have the cheese, it's much cheaper to buy it that way than it is to buy it bulk, buy the little packets, buy it bulk, don't buy the packets. There's ways, I was thinking about lots of different things with this.
Okay, and so you took the meat slicer out of the building also?
Yes, I was in the back of the truck.
In the back, I couldn't hear you.
It was placed in the rear of the truck, pickup bed.
Along with the 2 tables, right?
Correct.
Was there anything else that you took out of the building that day?
Pots and pans, not a pot and a pan, pots and pans.
And were they also in the kitchen area?
Yes. Some were older, not many new ones. Most of them older pots.
And did you have a purpose in mind for taking those pots and pans?
Yeah, boosters.
Now, how about beyond that? How about the pots, pans, the slicer, and the tables? Anything else that day?
No.
Those are all put back in the truck, correct?
Yes.
And then, where did you drive the truck then?
Came out the road, hit Route 75, which is the second way to get out of Lac Tuscarora. You can go 35 or 75. I come up, Dr. Yarder brought us up. That's the way I drive. I go 75. Seldom go 35.
Now, what discussion did you have with Dr. Yarder at that point as to where you were going to go?
Well, Dr. Yarder talked about all these tables are nice. Yeah, they are. And he talked to me about having them as meat tables. And I'm like, I don't have keys, one, today. You didn't tell me to bring keys on, which I didn't. I had my truck keys and whatever's attached to my truck keys. My school keys are not attached to them. I explained that to Dr. Yarder. I did not have keys. Dr. Yarder produced keys, which he had in the back, to the truck, to his personal vehicle, and a couple other keys that didn't have anything. He didn't even have a fob to get into junior high school.
All right, so what discussion did you have with him about where you would go with the truck next?
Well, just about saying on the truck overnight. I didn't think that was a good idea.
Why is that?
They might not be there till the next day.
Where does the truck usually park?
Juniata High School, or at that time, Juniata Elementary School.
And was that a concern that they might be stolen off the back of the truck?
I would say so.
So where did you go in the truck?
Went out 75, came through the blinking light, hit the 4-lane, cut across, hit Cedar Spring Road, and went out to Mays, my property.
Now, there had been testimony earlier about there being hunting land that you have out there, is that right?
Yes, there is.
And approximately how many acres is that?
258.
And in order to gain access to that property with the truck, how do you do that to that property?
You have to open a gate,
And is that gate one which is typically locked or unlocked?
locked.
And so when you got there with the truck, did you unlock the gate?
I unlocked the gate.
And the truck then drove onto the hunting property, correct?
Yes.
Now, there was some question in earlier testimony as to whether this was hunting property or a camp or something of that nature. Is there any structure on that property?
There's no structures on the property. There's no electric. There is no water access. It is a property that has not been developed to date and time. People from the administration have been there as well. They know that as well.
Do you store anything on that property?
Right now, Fossey's camper back 5 years ago. That's it.
All right, so there was no structure that anything can be put under to protect from the elements, correct?
No.
When you got there to the hunting property, and you went on with the truck, what happened next?
I placed those tables out my landing.
And
It's a
you-
log landing. It's a log landing. It's out in the middle of nowhere.
A log landing?
Log landing, like a logger's landing for logs pulling out trees.
And was that you and Dr. Garber that got the tables off the back of the truck?
Yes.
Did you remove the slicer or the pots and pans at that point?
No.
So after the tables were taken off the back of the truck and put on the log landing, what happened next?
Drove down the road, locked the gate, came back in the medical town.
Right. Did you have any discussion with Dr. Garber at that time as to what his intention was with those tables?
Yes.
What did he say to you, if anything?
He wanted to have them there on the property to process beer.
Was that your intention?
No.
What
It's
was
not
your
him.
intention?
My intention had been taken for the boosters, but I had nowhere to place them.
Well, wouldn't there have been a place inside the high school you could have stored them?
No.
Why not?
Liability issue, placing that in the hallways. Number two, it didn't have a key. It's an issue. Storage at junior high school is an issue.
All right, so, Dr. Garber said to you he'd like to use them as meat tables. Did he have a key to that gate on your property?
No.
Were you ever intending to allow him to use those as meat tables?
No.
Well, he was a superintendent, and you were director of secondary education at that point, correct?
Correct.
Can you characterize the nature of your interaction with him professionally?
Professionally, I would produce many ideas that I had as far as curriculum, budget, personnel. And as administration, we would have many meetings, disagreements, arguments over those same things. And at some point in time, we had to come to a consensus and do things. Leave the room, we tried to do that. But as far as professional, I think our SPP at Juniata, our school performance over time, took it from a failing school to improving school to a well-achieved, reasonably achieving school.
Let me talk to you specifically about how you and Dr. Yarger would interact. When he would say something about an idea and you would hear it, was your relationship such that if he said something, you did it?
90% of the time, he's the boss.
All right. Now, at that time though, when he said his intent was to use them as meat tables from your property, is that something that you viewed as him commanding you to do?
At that point, I had nowhere else to go with.
Were you intending to allow him to come onto your property and use them for meat tables?
No.
After you left the hunting camp and you had the slicer and the pots and pans in your truck,
It's not a hunting camp.
I'm sorry, hunting
It's
property,
been said many times, there's not a camp there.
after you left, where, you said you went to Mifflin Town, specifically where did you go?
Juniata Elementary School.
And what did you do at Juniata Elementary School?
Got ready to leave, he met his wife there to go out to eat. It's time to go home. 6, 7 o'clock, it's time to go.
What happened to the slicer and the pots and pans?
They have a Dodge Dakota 4-door, they were placed in the back seat.
And where did you take them?
Home, they were in my truck.
Now, did you remove the pots and pans and the slicer from your truck at some point?
At one point, because I had to haul my daughters to dance. Yeah, I had to haul them to dance class.
And when you took them out of your truck, where did you put them?
My shed.
But am I right, that was not January 1st when you did that?
No.
When was that approximately?
It was in the middle of January.
Did there come a time after January 1st when Dr. Yarger asked you to go with him again to look in other buildings?
Yes, Friday, January 11th.
And what happened on January 11th?
Rich Miley, Christy Holderman, myself, and Dr. Yarder went to the elementary schools.
And did you prepare collectively an inventory inventory at that point of various pieces of property you saw?
Yes.
And I'm gonna ask you, the thick binder you have there, which are the administration's exhibits, would you turn please to exhibit 20?
Yes.
Is it your handwriting?
Yes.
There was already some testimony about this exhibit, but I'm just gonna ask you to confirm. Is this the inventory that the four of you collectively prepared that you wrote down?
Yes.
And remind me again, how many different schools does this represent that you collected this information on?
4.
Now, that was on the 11th.
Correct.
On the 11th, were you involved in moving any of these items of property out of any of the school buildings?
Maybe some small stuff that came back that Christie would take to Juniata Elementary or something like that, but no, nothing major.
Was there any written plan as to how any of these things would be moved?
No.
Let me move now on to January 12th. Did you, on January 12th, go through any of the district buildings and look at the property?
Yes.
Okay, and what was that occasion? Describe the background for that.
On the 11th, I had seen and did see some things we could use at Juniata High School for a student learning center.
Now, talk about that a little bit more. What vision did you have for a student learning center?
Dr. Yarder taken Mr. Bennett, myself, and a few of the English teachers to Hershey High School about a year ago, year and a half ago, to look at their library commons and to generate a Juniata High School change the way we did things with our library, make it more accessible for students, make it more laid back, have coffee machines in there, have the ability to have cookies in there, just so the students could get together, work, and do projects there together.
Sort of creating a different atmosphere for
Well,
work?
yeah, library commons versus just a straight library, yes.
And that was something you did not at that time have in high school, correct?
No,
And where did you have the idea that that could go in the high school building?
well, we went to Hershey High School and looked at that, but the idea from that for accessibility and also student accessibility and for monitoring capabilities by faculty, it needed to, there's one place that it could go, and that was the current teacher faculty room at the high school. And to do that, that faculty room would have to be moved. I spoke to Steve Whistler, my trades teacher, about building a wall, what do you call it? It's leaving me right now, the name for it. Partition. In the old trades room, which was currently now housing our alternative education for disruptive youth students for the county.
Okay, let me stop you. You said alternative education for disruptive youth. Is that acronym AEDY?
Correct.
All right. So, if that were going to happen, what would happen with the AEDY?
We had to plan for the consolidation, and AEDY would be moved to Mountain View Elementary School. But with the consolidation being delayed, the move of AEDY did not happen at the beginning of the school year. Mountain View was still open. So then we delayed to January, hoping for January, and that date came for consolidation with the elementaries, but the AEDY classroom, Mountain View was not yet prepared for AEDY to move to the building, because there had to be reconfiguring with the classrooms there, with furnishings that Nittany Learning Center requested, and our custodial staff needed to do that as well.
All right, so you had, it sounds like, two things going on in the high school building at the same time that you had in mind would be changing. Is that fair?
Correct.
And on January 12th, what items did you, first of all, what building did you go into on the 12th?
Fayette and Thompson.
Okay.
Mrs. Kramer's elementary building.
Did you see any items there that you thought could be used, either in the commons or the,
Yes, the chairs was one thing. One chair that's yellow, the yellow back I sent to Dr. Etter was not real pleasing, but you had 4 roller chairs there and you had 7 cushion chairs that would have been purchased back in the 90s when Dr. Stuck went through and remodeled junior high, and East Junior as well. Those chairs, I believe some of those sold at East Juniata for pennies on the dollar, like $5 a piece maybe. I spoke with Nancy.
So what did you do with those items that you saw that you believe could be used in the high school?
Gonna take them to the high school. There's 12, 14 chairs there. There's nowhere to place them.
So what did you do with them?
They went to Mr. Fosse's camper.
All right. How about the very next day, January 13th? Did you go to a different school?
No,
The 14th?
not the 14th, no.
Any other days in January, did you go to any other school?
15th and 16th, Dr. Yarger asked me to get a group of boys from building trades and football players together to form a moving crew with John Stover, Matt Ray. With John Stover, Matt Ray, Rich Miley, myself, James Towsey, who's another custodian. There were 7 adults. And those boys, we had a cargo truck, and we had the school trailer and truck.
And what did you do?
We were moving items that the custodians had not moved to the JHS or EJES yet, and we were also moving things to Mountain View.
Did you move everything on those days to Mountain View or to other locations also?
We moved everything that was in here pretty much to Mountain View. Some of the things went to Juniata High School, a couple items got dropped off at Tuscarora Junior High School. And I think some of the tables in James County, some of those guys, the cafeteria tables that were in the mod of Fayette went to East Juniata
I
High
need you
School.
to slow down a little bit. I'm having trouble following you. Slow
Okay.
down a little bit.
Okay,
You said some of them went to East Junior High?
yes, each building received a few items.
And again, with those items, was there some sort of written plan as to what would go where?
No,
Who was overseeing where they were going?
at that point, that day, John Stover knew we were moving it. Christy was with the elementary ed. She knew what was in the pods and was going to go to Juniata Elementary School and East Juniata Elementary School. But we had talked and looked at things as well. There's lots of things that were being left that we shouldn't be.
I'm sorry, what day are you referring to now? You're talking about the day where there's a group of people who.
15th, 16th, I believe, of January.
Thank you.
Would have been back-to-back days. Mr. Condo went along as well. Mr. Condo, Mr. Apple, Dr. Yarder, Rich Miley. Yeah, there were 7 adults.
Now, how about after the 16th? Were there any other days that you went into school buildings and looked at property that could be moved?
No.
When was the first time that you were approached by Dr. Etter about any of this property being moved?
It was February 4th.
Now, as of February 4th, where were the stainless steel tables?
At Juniata High School, Dietrich Field. Tables were in the football concession area. Tables were in the band area. The other things were at the Juniata Dietrich Field football concession.
All right, so when you
There were
say
2 stands there at that time.
2 stands, the shed had been delivered, correct?
Correct.
So the steel tables, how did they get from the same property back to Dietrich Field?
I called a friend of mine, Jeremy Smith, to help me move the tables into Juniata High School. He has Dodge Rams, his truck's a little bigger than mine. And we can put them on there and bring them in.
And what day did you bring them in?
It was a Sunday. It's the first he was available due to his kids' schedules.
Would that have been the last Sunday in January?
Correct.
And access to the shed, they were actually put inside the shed?
Tables was conveniently, the shed was locked conveniently, no key to that. The other, Dietrich Field, yes, I had a key to open that door and place the things in there.
Okay, so you put the tables, how about the slicer, did that go in?
Yes,
Anything else at that time?
lots of hands.
Lots of hands. Now, when those things were delivered, were there still any things that you had taken out of any school buildings that you had in your possession?
The chairs.
The chairs.
Mhm. I'm not camper.
Okay. And those chairs, you have a vision to place where?
Those in the Student Learning Center, they were decent quality, 4 of them were roller chairs. And there were 7 or 8 cushion chairs there.
And those chairs, did they at some time in fact go to the high school building?
Yes,
And when was that?
February 5th, I sent Dr. Etter the pictures of those items.
All right, let me ask you to turn please to the binder of your exhibits here, the center one. I'm going to ask you to look first at exhibit number 1. Before we talk about this exhibit in detail, how was it that you came about to have a meeting with Dr. Etter on February 4th?
Dr. Etter was investigating Dr. Yarder.
Is that what he said to you?
Yes.
And did he ask to have a meeting with you?
Yes.
And where was it that you actually met?
Tuscarora Junior High School office.
And what did he say to you at that time?
I told him at that time, I'm not going to lie to you about anything. You ask me the questions and I'll tell you the answer.
And what did he ask you?
He asked me, he wanted to ask me about January 1st and Black Tuscarora and tables.
And what specific questions did he ask you, and what did you say in response?
He wanted to know what the intention was, Dr. Yarder, with the tables.
And what did you say to him?
Dr. Yarder wanted him as meat tables. And I also said to Dr. Yarder, I know I can't do that.
Did you say to him anything beyond that? Let me rephrase that question. Did you say to him anything about what your intention was with respect to the tables?
As I just said, I told him I can't do that. I couldn't have them there as meat tables.
So how about the slicer? Did that come up with that meeting?
I mentioned to him the slicer. I also told him there were other items on Saturday, January 12th. I told him the intentions with, and I said I will provide you a list. Once the AED wide room is moved, they will be back and will send a list of all the things that I moved personally or was involved with.
And when you had this meeting with Dr. Adder on February 4th, did you tell him that the stainless steel tables were already back on the school property?
I can't recall that.
Okay. His question to you was about Dr. Adder. I'm sorry, about Dr. Yarder.
Correct.
Okay. Did he mention to you that he was conducting an investigation into Dr. Yarder's activities?
Yes, and he asked me questions about other things, and I looked at him, I had no idea a couple of the things what he was talking about.
Now, let me have you look at Exhibit 1 here, which I had you turn to prematurely before. Are these text messages that were sent between you and Dr. Etter?
Yes,
And what day were these sent?
would have been Tuesday, February 5th.
And I'm not going to bother to read the text. I think we've already looked over that. But just to make reference, you agree that in fact these make reference to the fact that you would be sending an email with attachment, right?
Correct.
And the pictures here as part of Exhibit 1, are these pictures of the tables and the chairs that
Well, the stuff on top was miscellaneous. Those were towels. The other thing was pencils and stuff I picked up walking through classrooms and put in the thing, stuff on the floor. But there was pens and pencils in there, quite a few of them. Table was there. That was one table. We were gonna need more. That was one.
And these pictures, where were these pictures taken?
The ADY classroom where I placed them, I brought them back.
And what day did you bring them back?
Tuesday the 5th, that evening.
So you sent this on to Dr. Etter to tell him
Yes,
that these were items of property that you had taken out of the school buildings, correct?
yes.
Let's go over to Exhibit number 2. I don't want to be redundant, there's been some discussion, the second page, there's some handwriting. That's not part of the original attachment, correct?
Correct. That was my note. There's no way I could send that way via email.
All right, so let's look at the first page, which is the email itself. It says, Dr. Editor, please see the attachment. Any questions, please let me know sincerely. Did you send this on your official school district email?
Yes.
And what was the purpose of you sending this email to Dr.
I
Editor?
told him I would send him, and I was being forthright. I didn't have anything to hide. I knew what my intentions were with different things. I sent that to him.
And the second page was the attachment, which has a list of items of property on it, correct?
Correct?
And the top of this says materials from elementaries, plural.
Yes.
Was this referring to the various schools you had gone
It's
to?
referred to all four.
Mr. Apple, I think it'd be easier for the court reporter if you would let your lawyer finish his question completely before you interject an answer. Thank
It's
you.
referring to all four.
Referring to all four elementary schools.
Correct.
And what was your intention in preparing this listing?
To be as complete, honest, forward as possible based on what I experienced on February 4th with the questioning from Dr. Etter. I wanted no issues in regards to me going to buildings over consolidation.
Roman numeral 1 has the words placed in storage. What did you typed that up, I assume, correct?
Correct.
And what did you mean when you wrote placed in storage?
They are being stored, and yes, it was not in school property. It was off school property.
Now, you heard Dr. Etter say, I believe, his testimony was he understood that to be Mountain View. Did you hear him say that?
Yes.
Did you ever tell him, either in this email or by text or face-to-face, that these items were stored in Mountain View?
No, all those items, no.
Okay, were any of them stored in Mountain View?
No.
Okay, why did you put two lines there near the bottom that both say note? What did that mean? Why did you put those there?
That was further explanation as to where those items were to be placed.
And the
And they
first-
were.
The first note makes reference to AEDY, correct?
Yes.
And the second one makes note of JHS Student Learning Area Room.
Yes.
Now, this list that you created, did you and Dr. Etter discuss on the day before you sent this email? Had you discussed every item of property on this list?
No. We had discussed the dates of 1/1 and 1/12, and I had discussed the items from LAC and the details of going to LAC and what I did at LAC.
And so, was it your intention to provide a more complete answer here with this, systematic?
That was my desire and goal for that.
Now, after you sent that email, did Dr. Etter contact you with any follow-up, asking any questions about that list?
No.
When was the next time you heard from Dr. Etter?
Would have been that week, February 6th. Dr. Etter sent me a text that he had spoken to Dr. Yarger for the third time. Dr. Yarger did not acknowledge the meat tables. And he told me he was coming my way to see me.
Let me ask you to turn over to Exhibit 3. If you look at the top half of that page, which is Exhibit 3,
Mhm.
it looks like there's a text exchange. There's one text block, 8:31, and then another one, 11:33. Do you see those?
Yes,
Who sent those?
Scott.
And am I correct that he wrote, FYI, I just questioned Keith about 1/1 at LAC. He may be on his way over, and you responded, okay?
Yep,
Is that what you were just referring to, about him telling you that?
yes.
And then you see the date, February 11th, 2019. Well, before we get there, let me ask you this. Did Dr. Yarger, in fact, talk to you
Yes,
Okay. Do you recall where you were when you had that conversation?
my office,
So he went to your office to talk to you,
yes,
and Dr. Etter had given you this heads up that he was coming?
yes.
What did Dr. Yarger say to you at that time?
He wanted me to make up a story that he didn't want to use those as meat tables.
So he asked you to lie?
Yeah, and I told him I was not going to lie for him in this.
All right, so let's move on to February 11th now. You see, this has already been gone over with Dr. Etter. You see the language, your job is secure, but I need to discuss with you the sanctions that the board wants to put in place as a condition. What did you think when you saw that language in that text?
I didn't know what to totally think of that statement at that point.
What did you think? Well, did you have any idea as to what
I know
was
what
going on?
sanction, I understand what sanctions mean. It means penalty, punishment.
And it appears you responded, yes, I am at Juniata today. Is that correct?
Yes,
And did you in fact meet with Dr. Etter in the morning on February 11th?
I met with Dr. Ayer approximately 11 o'clock that day. I met him at the Juniata High School doorway, main entrance. We walked to the office, went to my office, I proceeded to my desk, chair, closed the door. He described briefly the arrangement of my office, yes. I slid down from behind my desk, grabbed a chair, was next to the window, turned it to face me. He said, Ed, I need you to read this.
And when you say this, I'm going to ask you to turn over here to Exhibit 4. Was this document given to you?
Yes,
And did you read it?
yes, but the order was, as it was copied, page 3 was first.
Okay, so for some reason, page 3 was on top
Yes.
of the 3 pages.
Correct.
Now, what did Dr. Etter say to you about this document when he gave it to you?
He had told me he had met with the board, and I read through it. I looked at the sanctions. I didn't agree with all the sanctions. I thought it was a lot of sanctions. I questioned the probationary period. I questioned the 5 days. When I was reading this, he looked at me and said, there's an element on the board that cannot forgive you, Ed. You know how boards are. Some people like you, some people don't. He was talking to me as real, as he described our relationship. He was speaking to me real that day. And I appreciate that from him that day. But he told me there's people that can't forgive me. I get it. I get it.
Now, when this was given to you, did you have an opinion as to the language in paragraph 6? Now, this is marked as page 3, although you testified it was actually on top as you received it. And that sentence says, the superintendent and I unloaded the tables, and the intent was they were to be left there as, quote, meat tables, unquote. What was your understanding of that sentence when you signed that document?
I signed the document. I didn't sign it right away. He stood up from his chair, looked at me and said, you don't sign it. I've been issued by the board of press charges. And I took that as with the state police. I don't need that. I know what that means as an educator, as he spoke for 25 plus years. I get what that means. That means I'm done. No uncertain terms. And Scott, you gotta live with that for the next 25 to 30, the way this goes down. You gotta live with it. You.
Move it straight down.
No,
Excuse me, Mr. Adams.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Just answer the questions that are asked of you, please.
After Dr. Etter said that to you, what did you do next?
If Dr. ever said that to me, I signed. I'm sitting in my chair. Said, "Do you want a copy of this?" He made the copy, not me. I didn't leave my chair.
Let me ask you about that. He testified that you left and made a copy. You're disagreeing with that.
I will disagree with that. I didn't leave my chair. He asked me after this if I wanted to go home. He asked me if I had told my wife about this issue and situation. He spoke real to me that day. I appreciate that.
So what was your feeling as to the language there in paragraph 6, where it makes reference to the meat tables? It says the intent was that they were to be left there as meat tables.
Not my intent, it's as I said previously, I told him I knew I couldn't do that. I told him at the junior high that.
And as of the time he first met you, February 4th, those tables were already back in school property, correct?
Correct.
I'm going to ask you now to turn over to Exhibit 5. I had asked Dr. Etter some questions about this. I'll be brief on this. February 21st, 2019, I'm sorry, at the top it's February 18th, 2019. Is that right, Dr. Etter sent you a text asking how are you doing?
Yeah, I was, so, yes.
And you said, "Just unreal, I am alive, may I call you?" or no?
That was me.
And then February 21st, did you ask his opinion about whether it would be a good idea for you to show up at the school board meeting?
Yes. Based on everything that I had, my daughter had given to me, my younger daughter had given to me from Instagram, Snapchat, everything, different people in the community, kids, discipline over time, everything that I've seen, memes being created. Yeah, I asked the question.
Directed at you, you mean?
Yes. Directed at my kids.
And he recommended to
Sorry.
you,
I said directed at my kids.
and he recommended to you, quote, "better to face people in person, period, but Danny and Amy are the people with real say, not me," unquote, correct?
Correct.
Now, that raises another question I wanted to ask you about, and that is that when Dr. Etter came to you on the 11th with the document for you to sign, how did you understand he was coming to you with respect to the school board?
I'm gonna object, I'm not sure I followed that
Could you
question.
please rephrase the questioning?
When Dr. Etter came to you with the document on February 11th, did you believe he was coming on behalf of the school board?
At that time, I didn't know what his role was. I know he's a solicitor, and I know when things go south in any way, shape, or form, he's been there over my career.
And there was no function superintendent at that point, correct?
No,
And so it was your understanding that he was coming on behalf of the district authorities, correct?
correct.
Now, the reference in the email, or the text, I should say, February 21st to Danny and Amy, am I correct that you understood that to be reference to Danny Snyder and Amy Wagner?
Yes.
And when he wrote, "They're the people with the real say," what did you understand by that?
As his previous stated, with my suspension for 5 days, told me they had to say I had to get permission from them for the 5 days, not him. So that was re-emphasizing that Danny and Amy had to say, not him, not Scott.
When you signed the agreement on February 11th, did you believe that you had withheld any information from Dr. Etter about the
No.
property that had been moved off the school grounds?
No,
Did you
No.
believe that the email you had sent with that attached list covered the items that you had taken on school property?
I tried my best and attempted that to cover, and I thought it did. That's what I believe why they didn't call me.
Because it was so comprehensive?
It was a long list, and he understood. He didn't call me. I asked him to if he didn't.
Now, you heard Dr. Etter's testimony that when he was looking, and I'm referring back to Exhibit 2 now, when he was looking at that Roman numeral 1, quote, placed in storage, unquote, he believed that to be Mountain View. Did you say anything to Dr. Etter to either tell him or suggest to him or try to mislead him to believe that placed in storage meant at Mountain View
No,
or anywhere else on school property as opposed to on your camping property?
no.
I'm going to now switch reference to the issue of your birthday. And I'm going to go back to June 19th of 2018. The statement of charges that the district has issued, of course, makes reference to this. I'd like to ask you first, though, about handling of petty cash in the office there at the high school. What year was it that you came to the high school for the first time?
I believe 1999, 2000.
And that was as assistant principal?
Correct.
Now, at that time, were you aware whether there was a petty cash fund at the high school?
No, not when I walked through the door, I had no idea.
When did you first become aware that there was one?
I think through discussion with Bev Oberlin,
And who was that?
secretary at the time.
And what did you learn about it from speaking with her?
She called it mousy money.
And what did she say was done with the money?
Small purchases, stuff that we don't want hassle over. Might get some donuts for staff, do some different things for in-services with it.
And what was your understanding at that time as to how the fund was itself funded? Where did the money come from?
That time, it was prior to parking permit, so it was pretty much funded through request to district office.
And Mr. Robert Wilson was principal at that time, correct?
Correct.
And that petty cash fund, even back then, was overseen by the secretary, right?
Yes.
Do you know where the money was physically kept?
Back in the vault room, junior high school, there was no room between the office areas.
And when you were assistant principal, did you have the combination to the safe where that cash was kept?
There was a key to that. I didn't have the key. When I became principal, we bought a safe. And I didn't have the combination to that safe.
Okay, so it was not a safe per se originally?
No,
It was in a locked room?
yes,
And so when you became principal, a safe was purchased and you did not have the combination?
yes.
Approximately what year was that?
2004.
And over the years, did the funding of the petty cash fund change at all, the source of the money?
Well, I was assistant. I know we cash playoff checks, and that money would go in there. Playoff PIAA checks for $500-600, ticket receipt money that we got from playoffs, district play. We would get those out, go in there. When we started parking permits before Steve left, we put X number of dollars in there as well. From those.
And did you ever have any request from the business manager to audit the petty cash fund?
I don't remember Ken Eiler personally asking me, and I know Rich never asked me.
How long has Mr. Miley been the business manager?
8 years.
And in 8 years, he never asked you for any assistance in auditing a petty cash fund?
No.
There's already been some testimony by Ms. Shedd, and I'll ask you in your own words. What was the money used for out of the petty cash fund in other ways?
We used that money for staff and student recognition. We bought small items. We had money for, 1 year, I was asked to get a couch for the library for the students. Took it out of there, $20-25. We were asked to replace the faculty room, tables and chairs upstairs for faculty. Tables and chairs, I think, for $100 or $150, something like that. athletic council came to being with appointment of Joe Skur as the athletic director, was asked to feed the kids that day and get any notice. Where's my cash coming from? Well, it came out of there.
Yeah, was that a special event, or what was that?
Athletic council was athletes from East Juniata and Juniata High School merged together to start forming more of a bond between the two schools. And Joe Skur's idea was to do that, and Dr. Yarger supported that. But I got a bill that day for pizza and sodas and all kind of stuff that I'm just standing there. I wasn't giving my personal money out for that one.
Do you recall how much that was approximately?
Probably close $100.
How about items for students who came from poorer households?
We had requests different times for yearbooks. Yeah, different, because they come, they're a senior. Fire victim, we would take collections from different accounts, National Fund, petty cash, individuals, we'd go with that.
How about caps and gowns?
Caps and gowns, we had kids that couldn't purchase them, said they couldn't purchase them. Angie Seaver, senior class advisor, would come to me with that, and there wasn't many. 2, 3, they were 10, 15 bucks a piece. They're not expensive caps and gowns, but we purchased them out of there.
And these were for students that couldn't afford them.
Correct.
How about backpacks?
If a kid is a learning sports student, we would try to cover things under funds with special education. But like that backpack, it was listed on there. I was laying on the floor, gonna be thrown away.
Did you have a lost and found?
We had lost and found.
And was that used to help students?
Oh, it's amazing the stuff I went through that lost and found over time. Carhartt jackets, boots, sneakers, watches, glasses, earrings, all kinds of stuff. Shirts, pants.
Okay. Mr. Kellen, I'd like to ask at this time, I realize we're coming close to 10 o'clock, and I'm not, unfortunately, close to finishing with Mr. Apple. I just wanted to ask for guidance here.
Approximately how much more time on direct do you anticipate?
I'd expect probably about another 20 minutes.
Board, it's up to you. Do you want to finish the direct tonight, or do you want to end now?
I won't be done.
Okay, so we will end it now. Mr. Apple, you were going to be called back when we resumed, so you are not to discuss your testimony with anyone until between now and the next hearing. Do you understand that, sir?
I understand you, sir.
And the next hearing will be August 27th, starting at 7 o'clock. We'll go off the record now, but I would like to see counsel briefly, and I would then like to meet with the board very briefly in the library.
May I make one request, and that, while we're still on the record, and that is that I have a couple of witnesses under subpoena, and I would just like it to be stated that that subpoena is continuing and they should return on August 27th at 7 p.m.
Are they here this evening?
Well, I'm
Well, to the extent they are, yes, I agree with that. Rather than having to reissue the subpoenas, that they would be binding on the witnesses till the 27th, and you can, counsel